Welcome to TraderMerlin Show. It is your Monday edition. Hope you had a great weekend out there. Hope your weekend was as good as Elon Musk's. If you're watching what happened over the weekend on Saturday Night Live, we were talking about Elon Musk being on there, and I'll tell you what, for somebody who's not an actor, who's not a comedian, he's just kind of a weird, eccentric goofball with, now he tells us he has Asperger's. I thought he did a damn good job. I was fairly entertained, especially with the Mars landing one. That was awesome. Hello, Jerry Pepper, Thomasina, Sue from Boston. Good to have you with us. We got MTB from Texas, Lori in Arizona, and of course, Les from Cape Canaveral. Hello, everybody. And Mississippi, you're... Peppers in Mississippi, huh? Nice. Good. Well, good to have everybody with us. Should be a fun day today. This show was specifically done because of 2 listener questions that came in. And I thought, why not just get to those and do the best I can at covering this topic, because it's something that I love to do, which is break down sectors and really looking for strength and weakness. Now, what I'm going to show you here, I'm going to show you the easy way, which is really kind of going through ETFs and exchange-traded funds. But for somebody like Brendan, who's here with us today, you know, he'll look at something like silver or gold, and then it's not as easy to break down a sector like that, but you can if you know the companies in that space. You could do a lot of the same pieces that I'm doing here just to see which one's the best performer or worst performer out there. So let me go to the 2 questions that came in on this one. Oh yeah, that's not a question. This is our May challenge. Just putting it up there. Guys, I forgot to do my my 100 push-ups on Saturday, so I doubled and did 200 on Sunday. So sore. Hope everyone's still with it. If you do miss it, you got to catch up. So hope everybody, Les, hope you walked your 5 miles today, buddy. And everybody, Sue, you got 45 minutes of walking to do. Who else is with us? We got Jerry with us? Yeah, Jerry, I don't know how you do it, man. 7 miles and 300 push-ups a day. Are you dead yet, Jerry? I mean, that's a pretty big beat. Hopefully, you're still sticking with it. Anyway, let's go to our list of questions. First one is from Raviv, who's probably here with us today. That is going to be any chance you can talk on the SMH chart on your show. It's a U.S. semiconductors ETF. And yes, we'll talk about that. Obviously, semiconductors and chip shortage being an issue right now for a lot of vendors and certainly automakers. I read a headline that Nissan is no longer going to put navigation systems in their vehicles. Like, I made the joke on the Monday Morning Must-Knows for Online Trading Academy. I said, what are we going to do now? We all going to have to get maps again from AAA? I mean, we're going back in time here. Pretty soon we'll have phones in our house with long cords because there's not enough chips. Anyway, yes, we'll look at that one here in a second, Raviv. And then I also want to get to the second one, which kind of ties these 2 together. Ken says, I was looking at adding some energy to my portfolio. Any suggestions on which one, or just buy an ETF? All right, well, that is a couple of great questions to start the show. So we'll go out here and look at the overall markets to begin with. I will run down at the end the top 7 here. Obviously, it was a pretty ugly finish for the equity markets. Actually, an ugly day altogether for the equity markets. The last couple hours have been pretty aggressive and bad for cryptos as well, albeit all-time highs for Ethereum and Litecoin over the weekend, which was pretty awesome. Okay. So let's go and show you a couple different things I like to do. So let's take example SMH, right? For those who don't know, SMH is probably the bellwether when it comes to semiconductor ETFs. There are several others out there, but this is really the most widely watched one. And all it is a basket. I believe it's 26 different semiconductor companies with different areas in that space. They're not all the exact same type of company. Of course, if you're looking for something specific, you would have to kind of filter down and find out the segment of the marketplace that you'd be interested in. So overall, and yes, Raviv, I will analyze SMH here, we can see that for the better part of the last year, it's been on just a solid uptrend. The only issue is what's happened over the past month and a half. It's not making higher highs, starting to get back down towards those lows. So no thought that this might actually be the reversal yet. Although today's action, pretty ugly. You see a big, gigantic red candle there down to the tune of about 4.5%. So technically, I'm not a big fan of SMH right now. Yes, it's still on an uptrend. If I was looking to buy, it'd be right around that 225 mark, maybe 215. After that, I'm no longer a buyer. I'm looking at shorting it, okay? Now, that said, if we were to look at the SMH sector, and I think this is going to help answer Ken's question as well, SMH represents a basket of securities. And of course, guys, we could look at a wide variety of them. There's XLE for energy, XLF for financial, XLV for healthcare, XLU for utilities, XLI industrials. There's a lot of ETFs that represent sectors of the market. That said, within each of these sectors, there's going to be dogs and there's going to be lumps of coal. Or that would be both bad. Diamonds and lumps of coal or dogs. So what can we do to find out if we are interested in a specific sector? what do we do to find out which one is the best? That's really easy. So one of the things I love to do, and I don't have it on this platform, but I have another layout where not on this computer, have it on another one, which is my trading computer, where I have a page of watch list that's just sectors. So semiconductors is one of those. Now let me show you here what I did real quick. I went through and I just added in the 26 components, or 25 components, excuse me, of the semiconductor index. Now what's key to make this work here, SMH, is that my question? Yes, it is, Raviv. Don't worry, you can always watch the replay, buddy. What's key here, if you are going to do this kind of analysis, you always want to make sure that the ETF in question is part of this list, and here's why. You'll notice that SMH, and this might be a little bit, is it hard to see that, guys? Should I bump it up? I'll see if I can bump this font up just a little bit more. I know it might be kind of hard to read. We'll go to 20 and see if that helps you guys just a little bit view what we got cooking here. There you go. Hopefully that's a little bit better. So I'll make it full screen. All these other values, they don't matter. I don't care about the bid, I don't care about the ask, I don't care about the high, I don't care about the low. Really, none of this stuff is important to me. What's important is what I added here, Bollinger Bands. Now I know it seems kind of weird, like why would I have Bollinger Bands on this? All I'm trying to do is see how these are relative to each other. So I could, if I wanted to, I could literally just go here and click and go through the list and say, okay, well here's Texas Instruments. All right, looking pretty strong. It's coming near some lows. Here's ASML. Okay, similar picture. They're all going to have the same basic picture. Some are going to be very, very, outlier like Intel. I mean, the last couple weeks for Intel has just been brutal. You could go one by one, but why bother? If you were like Raviv, and Raviv was asking about the ETF as a whole, let's say that he wanted to buy semiconductor stocks, but was really looking for something that was strong compared to the SMH. So all I've done is I add in this thing called Bollinger Percent B. And you guys can see that's one of the columns I added here in TradeStation. And all I'm doing is saying, if this is my benchmark, if SMH is the summation of all of these 25 different companies, then the strong ones are going to be the ones that are higher than that, meaning higher up in relationship to their Bollinger Band. So if SMH looks like this, KLAC is technically slightly stronger. STM, much stronger. And it may not look it from the long-term picture, but at least on the last 20 days or so, it's a lot stronger. Now we can change the time frame as well. This is obviously on a daily time frame, but I could change it to a weekly time frame to find out which one's performing best. What about if you wanted something that was the weakest? You're looking for shorting opportunities in the semiconductors. Well, Qualcomm is the bottom of this list, and you can see that it's negative 16%, which means it's 16% lower than its lower Bollinger Band, right? That is, that's obviously a very bad thing for this. Now, QRVO, which I actually don't know that one, QRVO, no idea. You can see that just ugly last 2 days have put it towards the lower end of the Bollinger Band. That's an easy way to do it. Now, you may not have access to TradeStation or a platform that gives you all of this. So what I recommend is you use something like, let's go, I think I had it up here. Here is stockcharts.com. All right, so I'm going to show you two different things here, stockcharts.com and barcharts.com. Now, here on the stock charts one, all I've done is gone to the top. You can select perf chart, and I added in the symbols that make up the semiconductor index. So here they are, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if it's giving me all 25. It's giving me a lot of them though. I think it maxes out after a certain amount. So all I've done is add those in here, and you can see very clearly which one's the strongest and which one's the weakest, right? ON is the strongest by a long shot. Going back into August of 2020, it's up over 113%, right? Now we can, oh actually, sorry, it's not, it was up over 130, it's up about 80%. So here you could easily find what's weak. AMD right now is the weakest of this bunch. And then you can also, at the bottom here, adjust and scroll through, showing you a lot more times. So let's say you wanted to go back the last few years. Here since 2018, clearly one is the lead dog, and that is AMD, which has just been destroying it up about 500, almost 550%. So this is two simple tools that you can use to screen through. Now, Ken specifically was asking about energy stocks. And when you look at the energy market, I guess I got to ask, what area of energy are you looking to get into, Ken? Is it alternative energy? Is it fossil fuels? Is it oil, refiners, extractors, storage, transportation? I mean, that's a pretty all-encompassing to say I want to get involved with energy. So what we could do is do a very similar process. And I'm going to walk you through step by step how to do it, just to show you the process here. And then I'll show you a couple little shortcuts that you can do to import that into your stockcharts.com. So first thing I want to do is I would highly recommend you use bar chart. You get 5 free downloads a day. That's pretty much all you need. You're not going to need much more than that. But if you'll notice, I'm going to go here. I type in XLE, right? So here's Energy's ETF. Now, once you look at it, on the right-hand side, you scroll down, it says constituents. Some call it holdings, some call it components. Apparently, bar chart wants to sound fancy and call it constituents, like they're voting for them or something. And you can see right away, there's the list. You can click this button that says download. Now, you'll have to sign up, but it's free. You can do the free one. You get 5 downloads a day, which is more than enough. So all I'm going to do is open up this list of constituents. Be right just a second while it opens up on some screen. And there I have it. So these are the 26 or 7 instruments that are inside of XLE Energy. Okay, so I don't care about all these other columns. I don't need to import those or do anything with those. What I do want to do is this one here these are deleted, and I'll take that one out. So all I'm going to do is copy the symbols. I'm just highlighting the symbols in the Excel spreadsheet, and then I'm going to go to my platform, which in this case we'll use TradeStation. You can use others. It's no big deal. I'm not sponsored by or advocating TradeStation at all. It's just what I use. And there we go. So I just added them all in. Let me delete all these. Okay, delete. And then, so now I have all of those components in there. Here is XLE at the bottom. And you notice that there is 23 different symbols in this energy list. So going back to Ken's question about which one to get into, well, let's first see how the market is stacked up. Okay. Remember, with Bollinger Bands, anything above 100 is overbought. Anything below 0 is oversold, in theory, right? Oversold can be more oversold, and same with overbought. So I'm going to just simply put my cursor and highlight XLE, which is the ETF, and it tells you right now that energy is very strong. It's right near the upper end of its Bollinger Band on a daily basis, so that's real strong. If you're looking for something to buy into, well, those candidates above it all make for good candidates because they're, at this point, acting very, very strong. Challenge is that you got to look at the bigger picture, right? How long have they been strong? Is it a recent change? Are they rolling over? So, for example, here is XLE. All right, XLE forming, well, it actually broke through. It looks like a little double top formation here. If you look at, let's go EOG. So this is the strongest of the bunch. So EOG, buying EOG right now, not really sure I want to be jumping on that because it's overextended. I can maybe zoom out a little bit to find some area of supply that it's rushing towards, which you can see it is right now. How about KMI? Little Kinder Morgan. Similar picture, right? It's not all-time highs, but it's incredibly strong. Maybe you wait for pullbacks here, but this will give you ideas as to which ones you might want to be trading based off of the price charts that you're seeing and what fits your goals and objectives. Now, the weakest of this bunch is HFC, that's Holly Frontier Corporation. If you're looking for a bullish flag formation, you got it on this one, but it is the weakest of the group. So, you got to be careful in adding that thing to your portfolio and what your percentage of allocation is to it. So, for those two that asked those questions, that is one way that I like to do it. I love actually breaking down and scanning for markets like that just because you never know what you might find. Quite often you find symbols in there that you aren't really familiar with, and all of a sudden they look like great chart formations, great candidates, and they're either strong or weak relative to the ETF that they belong in. So hopefully that helped. Brendan says energy also means uranium and green energy companies. Yeah, it's pretty broad. It's a little more specific with regards to XLE, but again, we could go into something like FAN, right, an alternative energy ETF, and find out which of those components are strong or weak. So I'm always an advocate of looking at ETFs first. The question I think that Ken posed was, which company would I pick? I'm not going to go through a specific company here. I hate giving recommendations. I would probably, for myself, spare myself the grief of trying to pick the one energy company that's going to perform. I would just buy the ETF myself of XLE, waiting for the right time on XLE to jump in. And then right now, if you look at what XLE is doing, I'd be a little cautious right now. Right? I think right now you're at a point at $55 where you kind of expected it to stall. And the reason you expect it to stall is, notice way back here, going back into February, this is right as the COVID doo-doo was hitting the fan, there's some breakaway gaps there that just have been filled, and now we're ripping right back up and closing those. So I would expect a little bit of hesitation here. So if you're long and thinking about going long on energy, you might want to wait a little bit. Wait for a little bit of a pullback here, see if this 55 level holds as a supply zone, and then potentially look for a buy point, I don't know, maybe 50, somewhere in that ballpark, to join on this great uptrend we've seen in energy. Oh, Merlin, what do you think about Netflix? Oh, Netflix. Well, as the pandemic, hopefully, fingers crossed, comes to an end, you would assume that Netflix would start to suffer a bit more here as people are starting to cancel their subscriptions. Although I think the reason that people would cancel their subscriptions is they've watched everything. I think I've watched almost everything. Yes, it is. Medics is Merlin. Something seems so simple, but this is so powerful information. It is, and I think it's important, especially as a long-term investor, that when you decide that you want to buy into something, whatever that may be, you certainly want to do a comparative analysis of, okay, if I'm buying, and you can pick any symbol, I don't care, who are its competitors, right? So if you decided, hey, I love AMD, I've been hearing great things about AMD, I'm going to buy it. Okay, well, you might want to pull up SMH and see where AMD falls within that ETF, right? How does it look compared to its peers? You might be surprised to know that it's actually become one of the weaker ones over the past couple of months. It's no longer the strongest. Okay, well, that rotation is important for me, especially if I'm looking for trades that might last a few weeks to maybe a couple of months. Same thing for, God, I like to say any ticker symbol is going to be part of some index. Well, let me take that back. Almost every ticker symbol will be a part of an index. Oh, Thomasina, tell me what your Netflix recommendation is. If it's 30 Day Fiance or 90 Day Fiance, just save it. God, what a horrible show that is. There is some absolute trash television out there. My favorite part is people believe that these reality shows are real, that they literally throw these people on an island and like, here you go, survive. This is scripted garbage drama. It is trash. Anyway, sorry, I got my soapbox. So, Netflix, what do I think of it from a price chart? Forget about my feelings about Netflix as a company, about subscriber base, any of that stuff. You look at this chart, I think, Brendan, you know me well enough to know what my thoughts are on it. I'm actually bearish at this point. I think you're going to get it back down to testing that 464 mark that you can see going horizontal there. It really isn't done too much. Yes, that range is massive, but you're near the lower end of its range. It feels to me like it's just getting weaker and weaker. And I think if we were to line up the variables that could impact Netflix going forward, I think there's more arguments for it actually selling off a little bit. There you go. So yeah, not a big fan of Netflix. You look at other companies in that space, your Disney, right? Would I rather own Disney or Netflix? At this point, I hate to say it, I'd rather own Disney. Even though it looks weaker for the past month, since the COVID bottom, it's been getting better and better. And then, maybe this is going to get a nice bump up too from the actual theme parks as they start to open up. What about Roku? All right, Roku. Nope. Roku, out of these three we just looked at, is probably the worst one of the bunch. Jerry says Netflix had great movies like Unabomber, Waco, and other great documentaries. There was a really good one. God, what was the name of that? There was something that was released. It was called the Deadliest Game, I think. It was a documentary about the Atlanta Olympic bombings. I thought that was excellent. And they did another one that was on the Unabomber as well. Both of those are really good. Yeah, there are some good documentaries out there, but reality TV, trash. What it does to the human brain, it's bad. So yeah, I'm trying to think of other major streaming services. I mean, unfortunately, you can't really use Amazon, right? You could bring Amazon into it, but Amazon is so much more than just a streaming service. But I think it falls into the same boat, right? We look at what was going on with Netflix. This looks almost the same as the Netflix chart. It's just coming off those highs, which double topped at an all-time high here. You're kind of middle of that range. My guess is you'll come back and challenge those lows sub 3,000. Who else we got is great streaming? You got Hulu, but I don't think Hulu's going to do it for us. All right, let me see what else I had question-wise. There were some earlier. What ticker symbols do I recommend for gold and silver? I usually, Raviv, I'm just looking at GLD, SLV if I'm looking for equity symbols. That's it. You can look at gold miners and silver miners and all that, and royalty companies. You can fragment up the metals area, but I just like to look from the metal perspective, GLD, SLV, or the gold and silver futures, respectively. All right, let's see. What do we have? Any other questions for me? Question, where are they rotating into? Are you asking because of the market sell-off today? I think it's actually just people going to go to cash a little bit here. Take some money off the table. Not just with the crypto space, but also with the equities. Those equity charts to wrap up are pretty ugly today. Let me walk through some of those. Let's go and start at the top. Gold. I think this speaks volumes of uncertainty in the marketplace. I was surprised to actually see Bitcoin take a big dive today. I think that uncertainty of inflation is going to really rear its ugly head here in the next couple months, and that could cause gold to go right back up to that 1950 mark, which I think is the big stopping point. That was your best performer today, was gold. Crude oil also continuing this big uptrend. We talked about this for the past few weeks, that this is forming a nice ascending triangle. And, my expectation was to come down towards this trend line. I just thought we'd go down a little bit further than it has, but right now it's holding at 64.88. If you get a break above that upward line, you're looking at a price target on crude oil. Let me just this is all price projection tools. Let me just draw this line up here. That would put you at right about on crude oil, a price of approximately $81 would be the price target based off of this ascending triangle breakout to the upside. Now, if we go back to the weekly here, that puts you just shy of a pretty major supply level. Right around 85 is a pretty significant area for crude oil. Right now, I think you'll get that breakout, and then you're going to have some big challenges around 72. But this is what a lot of people like to use as a measuring object to kind of anticipate where it might go based off of that ascending triangle. But all in all, on the daily, I think crude oil looks really strong. Wait for that breakout before you jump back on. S&P, you have this engulfing pattern formed today. And it wasn't like it was at any specific point. If you look at the 5-minute time frame here of, 5 minutes is what I wanted to type in. If you look at that 5-minute time frame, this was pretty much from the opening bell, just nothing but a sell-off, right? You had like a 1 hour window, maybe an hour and a half window where it moved up and then just been cratering ever since. It just formed its first green candle in about the last half hour or so. So nothing, it's not apocalyptic, down 1.17% for the S&P, but all in all, not great when we look at that daily time frame. Right? Right now, the expectation would be that you're going to come back and retest these lows from back here, which is right around, call it 41 and a quarter. That would be my next target for. I'll even move this line up because I think you're going to get back into this area. It really should be 2 lines. How about we bring out the crayon? Here's your yellow area where I think you'll probably come back and test on S&P here. Anything that closes below that yellow box, I think now all of a sudden we put ourselves in a pretty dangerous position of having more downside movement. So be careful of that one as we approach those levels. What else do I have for you? NASDAQ. Oh yeah, this is over double the beating that the S&P took. Again, technology. If we look at this price point right here, I brought this one up on Friday, that the big move up, was it a retest of that supply zone? Apparently it was. And now we're headed where? There really is not a juicy demand zone on this one for quite some time. I mean, 12.8 to me seems like the next okay target for this. Not even a really strong demand zone, but that's a good 500 points away from current levels. So my guess is that the NASDAQ will continue to show weakness and most likely move on down towards that 12.8 mark on the NASDAQ. All right, even worse than that was the Russell 2000. What's noteworthy here is the Russell technically did break that uptrend line. Of course, guys, this trend line is not perfectly drawn because if you're going to use the tails here, we would have gone through the tails here, and now you have a different line. Or you use the bodies, which would put our trend line looking something like this. That actually makes it look like we're almost there. So bottom line is we're really close to an interesting point on the Russell where we start making some new lows, and maybe we start to get that rollover that a lot of people have been expecting for these major market indexes. And finally, we go to crypto. All right, with the crypto side of things was interesting. Over the weekend, we saw some really nice moves. Let me go to some different charts here. I sold out of my crypto holdings on Sunday. Not crypto holdings. I sold my Litecoin and my Ethereum on Sunday, and of course, those are the only two that kept on running. Wasn't that nice? Let's go look at it. And I did see your question on Dogecoin. We'll talk about Doge as well. I'm going to start at the top and work our way down. Here's Bitcoin in the 5-minute. I want to show this on I'll do it in hourly because I think that's giving you a better representation of what happened. You can see somebody dumped a lot. You had a huge spike in volume. This is through Bitstamps Exchange, but big spike of volume. You see that red one there just an hour ago. Pretty ugly. Now, following on that, you have things like Polkadot also took a pretty big dive, down about 9%, Ripple as well, and then the dog doo-doo coin, Doge, actually forming a double bottom on the hourly, but take a peek what it looks like on the daily. Conveniently enough, you can see right as Elon Musk did Saturday Night Live, it just plunged. It was awesome. Let's go to the daily time frame of this so you can see what it looks like. I personally think Doge is done. I think that's it. You got Elon Musk popping it up again, saying he's going to have the rocket named Doge and carry Dogecoin to the moon, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I think this house of cards is going to come home to roost as people that realize that this is a completely useless, no use case situation for Dogecoin with no development in it. So my guess is you'll probably see this thing continue to drift on down. Not a big fan of that one at all. So Eric says, what thoughts on what happened to Doge? What happened was you had all these people buying Elon Musk's rhetoric and his pump schemes, which he's brilliant for, and really pushing this thing higher and higher and higher. What ultimately happened, I don't know if anybody saw Saturday Night Live. I thought it was great. I mean, he mocked Dogecoin. On the news program of Saturday Night Live, when they kept asking him, but what is Dogecoin? He basically says, yeah, what do you say? It's a marketing gimmick, or it's like a con. Is what he admitted to on the air. It's like, oh, you're killing yourself here, buddy. You're pumping something that's worthless. But he poked fun at it quite a few times on the program, which I thought was great. But look, this is the space that we're in. There are a lot of great projects out there. I know for myself, that's kind of how I'm looking to build my portfolio, which that's how I built that portfolio I showed you guys last week. If I'm looking to buy into crypto, I can go one of two routes. And I want you to equate this to trading stocks. If I want to make it long-term as a trader or investor, I have to be diligent about doing my research and saying, I'm buying this stock for this reason and this reason and this reason, and here's why, and here's where I'm going to get out. If you don't do that, then you're a gambler. What a lot of people who are new to the markets, especially Robinhood traders, do is they like to go out and buy these little tiny penny stocks. They're trading at 0.001 because, oh goody, if it goes from 0.001 to 1 penny, I've now made a huge factor rate of return and I'm going to get rich. That's gambling, and odds are you're going to lose your money because penny stocks are a penny for a reason. With Dogecoin, with Sia coin, with Shiba dog poo coin, all these stupid freaking coins, everybody is trying to buy something that's trading at 0.0000001 in the hopes that it goes to a penny. Great, it's a gamble. You're hoping that some celebrity like an Elon Musk picks it up, promotes it, and the herd mentality of people who have no clue what that project does or is involved in, they hope it goes up. I would rather save a small amount of my portfolio for that type of speculation, and I would much rather build a portfolio that I think is going to stand the test of time. Buying into projects that I know are doing something, that have an actual goal and production development team to help it grow. Buying some of these coins like Dogecoin is like buying a shell corporation that doesn't do anything. There's no management, there's no product, there's no marketing, there's no nothing. It's a scam, but it gets propped up. Dogecoin now has a market cap, well, it had a market cap of something like $90 billion. I can think of a wealth of other companies that I would much rather buy at $90 billion market cap than Dogecoin, because those companies will probably be around in 5 years. Dogecoin probably won't. Yes, exactly it, Jerry. Everyone's looking for rags to riches without doing the work. Dogecoin, I think, was the one. Right now, the one that everyone's pumping is going to be Shiba coins, SafeMoon. Those two are like, the most annoying in the space are those two companies out there. Let me see if I don't know if I can get SafeMoon on here. No, it's not even quoted on any reputable crypto site. You have to go to Token Swaps to get it. That should be a clue right there. If you can't find it on a reputable exchange or any exchange other than a swap site, then it's probably not going to be anything good. Don't know about it, Brandon. You were posting about that one. Now I don't know about Leash. I saw you commenting on it, but I didn't take a chance to look at it, what it was. Buy my tier 3 OnlyFans coin? No fans only. Does he really have several billion? I wouldn't surprise me. He's got so much money. Talking about Shiba, I'm not a fan on Shiba as well. I don't like crap coins. I'm not a big, I mean, I have some shit coins, that's for sure. But at least I know that they are working on projects. Here you go. Here's your Shiba Inu coin. I'm only looking at this for Brendan's sake. Oh yeah, I gotta buy me some of that. This is just a bad quote, but oh, why would I want to ever trade that thing? SHIB. See if I can find something. I'll do it to Tether and see if that works any better. Oh, I mean, and here's what you got. You've got all these people, and this is the daily. Yeah, it was trading at 0.00002, and now it's trading at 0.00003. So, yeah, you would have made a ton of money. You have liquidity issues, you got transfer exchanges, you got fees, you got all of these off-chain things. To me, that is pure gamble. Yeah. I know that she was on the Binance one, but I'm not a fan of trading stuff like that. I think it's just way too big of a gamble, too big of a risk. And you know what? It should be part of that 5% of your portfolio that I showed the other day, or sorry, 10% of your portfolio. That's the gamble fund. Other than that, you know, I think you should stay away from them. Echo says, is this the dip for crypto? I don't think so. I think you got more to go. We've had such a huge run, and this is what I love, is when you have people screaming that it's the end for crypto, blah, 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 blah. Look at where we're at. Here's Bitcoin's chart. You know, do I think the Bitcoin can go lower? Yeah, I think Bitcoin could easily challenge that 48 mark. It hasn't done much for the past, since February. Or since March. It's just kind of traversed sideways in a wide range, but it's still not looking that great. The ones that I think are obviously the strongest here are going to be Ethereum and Litecoin. Those right now have the lion's share of attention. But when you get something that has a parabolic move like this, what usually happens? What usually happens? You usually get a significant pullback. And that's why I liquidated my Ethereum, is because my expectation was it had a pretty significant run up. I'm expecting it to drop back down. And I think that it might. You know, that's obviously speculation on my part, but that's my trading plan, and I'm sticking to it. You know, you look right around 3,500 on Ethereum, I think that'd be the point where I start to buy back in. But when we go parabolic, I'm generally expecting there to be a pullback in that one. Now, Litecoin is another one that's had one of those tremendous moves. What's interesting for me about Litecoin is you notice that these 4 candles right here all have tails that are right around 334. So it feels like there's something holding it right above 334. And you can just, the tails tell it. You know, we've gone down there, we've hit it and bounced right back off of it, whether we're bullish or bearish. But yes, I think this one could also have a correction down. You look at Ripple. Now, Ripple's chart, it doesn't look that great. Other than that giant move we had in early April, it just doesn't look as strong as it did. And you look at Dogecoin. You know, Dogecoin, if you're looking at straight technicals, you could argue it's in the midst of a pullback. I would make the argument that you're probably looking at a drop down to about 38 on this one before it grabs a hold and bounces. But honestly, I'm not a big fan of this bad boy. Congrats, Brendan. Made 100% on his Shiba coin in a day. Good. I mean, that's great. You just got to know the risk of it. Most of these are just trash, right? Is there a use case for it? Is it really going to be anything? No, it's just someone creating a coin that has a quadrillion tokens and convincing everyone that it's going to go to $1. Well, it's just got to go to $1. I was at dinner party the other night, and this couple was talking about how they dumped a bunch of their savings in Dogecoin because it will have to go up. Oh my God. It was funny. I was actually out with some friends on Saturday night, and I was at this local watering hole, and I don't know, it was just a random regular night, no big deal. And I look at my watch, I'm like, it's 11:15. I can make it home by Saturday Night Live. And no, I had one beer, guys. Don't start judging. So I went home, watched Saturday Night Live, but you know, it was one of those things where you buy the rumor, sell the news. We talked about that one. So I unloaded all of my Dogecoin right as Elon Musk came out. I should have done East Coast time because by the time I got it, it was already like 60 cents. But, you know, dumped all of it, and I'm very, very happy to get out of that one. I'll probably never jump back into that thing. I think its heyday is done. Now, it could have some big bounces, but what you'll get is there'll always be this subgroup of people who's going to push something in one specific area. Right now, Shiba is very big. So is Safe Moon. To me, I look at them and I go, is there a big project? Is there something that you're going to do for the betterment of society? If not, most likely I'm not going to touch it. But that doesn't mean that you can't go out there and jump on some of these high flyers and make 100% rate of return in one day. It's pretty crazy. All right, what else you guys got for me? I'm going to make an early show today. It's going to be awesome. An early show for me? It's phenomenal. Let's see. Let's look at actually a couple of things before we wrap it up. And of course, if you have questions, send them on in here. I want to look at Tilray, TLRY. Now, of course, Tilray, we'll make this a 5-minute time frame. They came out with earnings today. Oh, and what, pray tell, happened out there? There's your Tilray earnings. Tilray came out, and I think Tilray, let me look it up. I had it. I was looking at it earlier what happened with Tilray, and I forgot what happened with them. The one that I was really interested in was the Trade Desk TTD. Boy, what a crazy earnings day that was. Yeah, Tilray actually missed. I'm sorry. They were supposed to lose 10 cents per share. They came out at negative 19. So even though they missed by such a colossal amount, they really didn't sell off that bad. It was only down 10% for TLRY. Now, here's the one that I found interesting. TTD. Look at that price chart. Oh, God, the Trade Desk just got slaughtered. It was up over 700 and finished the day down sub 500, a decline of over 25%, nearly 26% slide for the Trade Desk. And here's the real kicker. For their earnings, it was actually comical. They beat earnings by a huge margin. They were expected to make 82 cents per share. They came out at $1.41. That's a beat of 75% on the earnings. Phenomenal. Yet they're down 25%. Thought that was pretty awesome. And that's it really from the earnings calendar side of things for tomorrow. Let me see if I can bring up, I think I have this bad boy here for you. Where is it? Share it with you over there. Oh, the beauty of multiple screens. Okay. This is your calendar for the 11th, tomorrow. Now, there really isn't too much to speak of with regards to earnings. We do have Chesapeake Energy, Electronic Arts, and then one that I'm actually kind of interested in seeing what the statements are by these two companies. You have Toyota and you have Honda reporting earnings tomorrow. And given all the chip shortage, which, it may not seem like it's impacting us that much right now, it could have a much bigger impact down the road. We'll see how much it impacts them. My assumption is going to be they're going to make some comments pertaining to how their business is being impacted by the chip shortage and what they may have to be changing on their vehicles. I think GM was saying they're not going to have backup cameras, and I was like, what? How about you just wait and hold on until you get the chips as opposed to cranking out vehicles that don't have all the features that I'm paying for? Kind of a weird one. Lisa says, I can't wrap my head around the TTD one. This is why I just generally do not like to mess with earnings. Because if you saw the earnings number, and you bought some calls on it, you're like, yes, I'm going to crush it. And you're down 25%. Like, what? Hold on. It's just statements about things going forward. I did not look at the conference call records. It's not really something I spend my time doing unless I'm overly interested in it. But it's always interesting to see when they beat earnings by such a great margin, how they get slammed. Here's your economic announcement for tomorrow. Now, the things that I am particularly interested in are the NFIB Small Business Index. They're expecting a big jump to over 100. Currently, it's trading at 98. Not trading, but it's quoted at 98. Over 100 is obviously an incredibly strong sign, but the way we saw the Russell sell off, it's been trading sideways. I kind of get the feeling these numbers are going to miss with regards to Small Business Index. You do have a bunch of FOMC members for the U.S. speaking tomorrow. Williams, Brainerd, Daly, and Bostic will be speaking. And probably the biggest stuff is going to happen for the U.K. So for those trading the British pound, you can see you've got CPI, GDP, construction output, goods trade balance, index of services, industrial production, manufacturing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening out there for the UK. And if you look at that price chart of the GBP USD, you can see it's been performing really well, and it's coming right into a double top formation. We had that little pullback here, and I was trying to get David on as it was selling off, but a little late now because it's kind of ripped to the upside, back above that 140 mark we talked about. My guess is you'll see a little hesitation with some of those announcements, but maybe that news tomorrow will give it some clarity. The real deal here is those announcements that you see right here, those are all going to happen 8 hours after the show tomorrow. So it's going to be a late night thing for tomorrow for the British pound. But I know a lot of currency traders are going to be loving that one and looking for some action out there as well. If oversold at 25%, maybe recover tomorrow. Are we talking about, what are we talking about? Oh, gold and silver? I know which one we're talking about there, Medic, or Alan. Staying away from Plantier, overvalued crap. Yeah, well, there's a lot of overvalued stuff out there. I mean, let's look at the daily here. Go back to my watch list. All right. I'm just going to do a double click on my index scan. There's 18 companies out of 412 that are below the lower Bollinger Band. That's only 18 out of 400 plus that are oversold. Let's see, how many are above the upper Bollinger Band? There are 59 companies above the upper Bollinger Band. That's a lot. It's actually come down a bit, but there's still a tremendous amount of companies that are overbought. You notice there's a lot of energy stuff in that space as well. You got Canopy, it's not COG. I always forget that damn ticker number. COG, Cabot Oil and Gas. There you go. Cabot Oil and Gas. You've also got ExxonMobil, Schlumberger. You'll have NEM, which would be of interest for anybody who's in that metal space. I mean, they're technically overbought according to their technical indicators. Doesn't mean that they're done, but. DJ, Merlin, you still holding your Bitcoin? Yes, I will be holding my Bitcoin. I dumped my Ethereum and I dumped my Litecoin with the intention of buying back in and using any extra proceeds to buy other things. So I'm still incredibly bullish on the overall space of crypto, but just felt like the timing was right to take a little off the table. Again, when you look at your accounts and the numbers are that significant, it doesn't bother me that they ran. Of course, it bugs me that they ran so much on Sunday and Sunday night. Man, what moves we saw out of Litecoin and Ethereum, but they're giving a lot of it back right now. Let me see. I don't know where we are at this exact second because I don't have that chart over there for you guys. Thought I did, but there it is. They're still. I mean, Bitcoin's still at 55.7. No big deal. 10% pullback in crypto is literally nothing. Okay, let's see. I think that's going to do it for me for today, guys. It's going to be an early one. I'm going to go out and enjoy my slightly sunny day. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit different. Tomorrow I'm going to have Paul Orm on the program, and he's talking a lot of long-term stuff, long-term growth pieces. I'd love to have him on. I don't think he's actually been on this program before, so it'll be fun to have him on. He's got some slides prepared and everything. We're going to have Colin Teddards on the program on Wednesday talking about some of the fundamentals for some companies. I guess you guys have sent me in some questions already. If you have something specific you want Paul Orm and I to look at for the long-term portfolio of people out there, let us know. Send it in at TraderMerlin@gmail.com. You can just send me an email anytime, 24/7, and hopefully I'll get them all prepped for the show with Paul tomorrow or Colin Teddards on Wednesday. And what do I got? Friday? I think Trey Lazera will be back on Thursday, so we're going to talk futures on Thursday, and then the weekend show for me. I love it. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Cheers. Hope you have a great day. If you did enjoy today's show, give me a little thumbs up. Thank you so much. I will see you mañana. Take care.